the biggest IPO ever.
From AI to Mars, ahead of an all-time blockbuster IPO.
These include plans to build what the company is calling the, quote, infrastructure of the future.
That's not a typo. That's the largest IPO in human history. It dwarfs Saudi Aramco, the previous record holder. But here's the part most retail investors are going to miss. When you buy into this IPO, you're not really buying a space company. You're buying a four-headed tech conglomerate. Rockets, satellite internet, frontier-level AI, and a social media platform, all bundled into one ticker. I've spent over 15 years in big tech, including time at XAI, formerly known as Twitter, which is now part of this exact deal. I've watched dozens of once-in-a-lifetime IPOs play out. Most of them are noise, but this one is different. By the end of this video, you'll know who actually owns SpaceX, how it makes money today, and the four-tier roadmap I call the space ladder. This is at the center of justifying this crazy valuation. This is what takes this company from cool to freaking insane over the next 30 years. Because $1 trillion valuation sounds crazy, and it is. But here's the reality. Once you understand what this conglomerate can really build, this IPO might be that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that mints millionaires, just like Apple did. But before we talk about what SpaceX can build, we have to understand how it's structured, because this is at the foundation of everything. Now, the single most important thing to understand about SpaceX is its dual-class share structure. Elon basically holds about 42 to 43% of the actual equity, the company, but he controls an overwhelming 78 to 79% of the voting power. This structure lets him run the company pretty much however he sees fit without needing a majority ownership stake. Now, the other major holders include Alphabet, Google's parent company. They own an estimated 6 to 7.5%, a position that's now worth about $80 billion. And following the recent merger with XAI, names like Nvidia and the Qatar Investment Authority have also been added to the cap table. Now, the valuation history of SpaceX is wild. Instead of traditional fundraising, SpaceX has leaned heavily on tender offers. These are basically company-organized secondary sales. Their valuation has gone from $137 billion in early 2023 to $800 billion in December 2025, and then a $1.25 trillion valuation at the XAI merger earlier this year. And now in secondary markets, implied valuations are pushing past $1.5 trillion. But now we need to understand how exactly they make money. Here's what's surprising when we dig into SpaceX's numbers. Financially, SpaceX is already a powerhouse. In 2025, the company generated an estimated $15 to $16 billion in revenue, all with an $8 billion EBITDA. That's roughly a 50% margin, and at this scale, that is rare. And the overwhelming driver behind this revenue isn't rockets. It's Starlink. Starlink now makes up 60 to 70% of SpaceX's revenue. In Feb 2026, Starlink crossed 10 million monthly active subscribers across 160 countries. That's effectively 97% of all global internet traffic, all from one company. And the next frontier is direct to cell. SpaceX's upcoming V3 satellites that are launching on Starship are expected to bring full 5G connectivity directly from orbit to our phone, no matter where we are, even if we're in the middle of the ocean. Now, on the launch side, the entire future sits on Starship. This program has had dramatic highs and lows. Explosive engine fires, followed by those incredible chopstick catches of returning boosters. And they're aggressively moving forward. The Block 3 Starship, now with their latest Raptor 3 engines, have now been unveiled. But SpaceX has had some challenges with its NASA lunar lander, which got pushed to Artemis 4 for 2028. But we have to accept that SpaceX's launch dominance is undeniable. 165 Falcon 9 launches in 2025 alone, more than every other launch provider on Earth combined. So SpaceX is a massive tech conglomerate and a near monopoly in space. And here's why it might be a good idea to invest into them. See, we as a civilization are just taking our first real steps outside Earth. We're like a chicken that's just about to hatch out of the egg and walk out. The space race during the Cold War a few decades ago between the Soviet Union and the US was less about space exploration and more about signaling technological superiority. But this time, it's different. Let me walk you up what I call the space ladder. 4 tiers, each one sounds crazier than the last, and SpaceX touches them all. Tier 1, cool stuff. Starlink everywhere, new territory, disaster zones, airplane Wi-Fi that just works, and Starlink-powered 5G in the middle of nowhere. But then, Tier 2, here's where it starts to get really cool. AI compute in space. data centers and GPU clusters sitting in orbit. You consume the sun's energy directly with solar panels and compute everything over there. Cooling becomes super trivial because space is already cold. You just have to manage it. That single shift could move enormous amounts of pollution and energy consumption off the planet. Imagine how many data centers we have that are ruining neighborhoods. All of them could go up to space. And then tier 3, and this is where it starts to get insane. Real space exploration, a permanent base on the moon, which is just practice for Mars. But then this will grow further into space tourism. There might be a future where you might have Airbnbs on Mars. Tier 4, and this is freaking insane, asteroid mining. Imagine finding diamonds or gold on asteroids. It might become property of SpaceX. I mean, finders keepers, right? And eventually a potential Dyson sphere, consuming massive amounts of power from the sun, removing polluting industries entirely off the Earth. A combination of all 4 tiers could really help us clean whatever is happening on this planet by removing all of this dirty work and moving it somewhere else. But this moment also comes with real costs. Imagine yourself as this super ultra powerful god who's looking down upon the solar system. This moment will be the moment where civilization stepped out of the Earth and started innovating across the solar system. But this will also become the moment where we might have started polluting beyond just our own planet. So assuming we do things decently safely, the thing that gets me most excited about all of this space stuff is that this end game is genuinely infinite. Today, the best we can do is send some robots and probes into deep space. But when we decide to send humans, the entire equation changes. That's a whole different game, and we're just getting started. The journey from sending robots to now sending humans out of the solar system is probably the most challenging thing our species will ever do. And I believe that SpaceX is going to be a major player in this game, and the space race has barely started. And a lot of new things are coming. Companies like Vanta are building next-generation space stations. And contrary to what's happened in history before, these space stations might actually be owned by companies rather than countries. And SpaceX will most likely play a role in almost all of it. It's almost like iOS for your iPhone, or what Nvidia is to AI today. OpenAI and Anthropic might fight over who's going to win, but they both buy chips from Nvidia for that fight. So in the future, you might have a lot of companies fighting for different things in space, but they might all need to use SpaceX to even get to space.